Hiya, good morning. It's Ian Parker Moore from International Amateur Street Photography, and I've been sent some members' pictures to have a look at, try and give some constructive criticism over. So let's start. I received 4 photographs from a member from India, Debapriya Samadder, and what I've done is I've looked at the 4 and I've picked out the one I thought was the strongest and the one that I thought was the weakest. So I thought it would be interesting to take a look at these and discuss. So this is the first one from Debapriya. I don't know whether you can see it very well. But it looks like a fisherman with some netting swirling across the image, and I think the thing that is very interesting about this image is that the iridescent colour. It is quite unique. It's quite a neon green, and it's actually winding its way through the image, and we've got the fisherman here sitting down. It looks like he's mending the net. So what do I like about this picture? I like the leading lines. Okay, that works well. It takes the viewer's eye through the picture to the main subject and out of the picture. This is actually excellent work. I think one of the issues when you're actually taking pictures, you need to look at your composition, and one of the issues here is, though you have got leading lines, you could actually improve this picture more by looking at the rule of thirds. Now, if you don't know what rule of thirds is when you look at the picture and you divide it into 3 sections, 3 going down and 3 going across, and the idea is to actually get your main subjects on the intersection, so that's where the lines meet. So in this picture, you probably can't see it on video, but I've actually drawn the lines here, and the first intersection is here, and the second intersection is here, third and fourth. So I think you could improve this image more if this person was actually on this intersection here, and if this bulk of the netting was on this intersection. And I think I would actually probably crop it here, because this section here is taking the viewer's eye out of the image. But I do think this is actually a very good picture, and it does show that you've got an eye for taking the picture. I think also to improve this, I would probably take it from a lower angle. So if you shoot down, then you get more of this in the foreground, and hopefully you can actually get the viewer's eye to lead better to the person there. I'd probably also crop this down a little bit, because this is not really adding any interest into your picture. And crop here a little bit as well, cut these bits off here. I hope that helps. Okay, let's go on to photograph number 2. So the second image I've taken a look at is this image here, which is a guy on a motorbike going down the highway. I think, Debapriya, you need to look at what is street photography. Though this is technically street, in that it is unmediated chance encounter, and it's also in the public place, that is just the basic of what street is. So though I would say this is street, unfortunately it's not very good street. I think you have issues with your technical abilities on this one, because it doesn't look in focus at all, and it also looks a little bit underexposed. Now in your the words that you sent me, Debapriya, you have actually said that you do have problems and issues with taking people in street, in that you are quite shy. This is actually quite common with people who are beginning in street, and I think that it is something that people are afraid of. And I must admit, when I started, I was very conscious about it as well. So I think for you, we need to look at how we can improve your people taking skills in street. So I think what I would like to look at now is to give you a few tips on how to improve your people taking pictures. Okay, so when I started back in 2017, I would go around the streets of Manchester, and I must admit I felt very conscious about taking street pictures of strangers. And I realised one of the issues I had was I actually doing anything criminal, anything against the law? So one of the first things I did is I started looking at what the law actually states, because I felt that if I felt more comfortable that I wasn't committing any offence, then I would feel more comfortable in taking pictures. So I started looking on YouTube and Google, and I started looking at the law and street photography. So in the UK, you can actually take any picture of anything or anyone as long as you are standing on a public path. And I think once you actually realise that you're not breaking any law, then I think that you can actually feel a bit more safer. Now the issue is that just because it's not against the law, you have to consider whether what you are doing is right. So you can take photographs of children, but I think certainly in the UK, you should be very wary of it. And I think that it would be a good idea to maybe ask the parents' consent before you actually take a picture. But legally, in the UK, you are not doing anything wrong. And I think that one of the things you need to do, Debapriya, is to actually look at what the law is in your country. So I hope this will help a little bit. Okay, so once I actually found out that I was not doing anything against the law, the next thing was to actually trying to get my confidence up in taking pictures of strangers. So I started looking around and realised there was some very easy options out there. So for instance, I would walk through Manchester, and one of the very first street photographs I took was of a street artist, and it was one of these living statues where he struck a pose and he stayed there for a few minutes. So basically I had a captive victim, if you like. So I went in and I took his picture. I gave him a nod and stuck my thumb up, and he sort of winked at me, and I was away, and I took like 8 or 9 pictures. Then I went fairly close. I went further away and took more of him in, and even today this is one of my favourite pictures. So what I then did, I actually then gave him a card and sort of gave him a thumbs up and walked away, and I got some of my best pictures. So I think one of the issues when you're taking street portraits is what happens if they say no. And I think for this you can actually prepare yourself. So one of the things I did very quickly is I got myself some business cards, and I put on it my name, and I put on my web page and my Instagram page, and if anyone actually said, "Why are you taking my picture?" I could actually produce my card and tell them that I am a genuine photographer, and then they would say, but why are you taking my picture? So I actually realised that I had to have my reasons ready. So I would say, I'm a street photographer and I like the way you look, I like your tattoos, I like the dress, I like your beard. And basically you just compliment them, and then by giving them a card they can see that you're very genuine. And now I think after doing that I have about 90%, 95% even, of people saying yes, it's okay, and some are actually very flattered. So I think this is something that if you're not doing already, you need to consider doing. So once I've started doing that also made it very much easier for me. I have also tried some sort of fairly sneaky techniques. I don't know whether you've heard of shooting from the hip, which is where you set up your camera. So you set it up for about 5 or 6 feet. You set your aperture to about f8 and you hold it down by your waist, and with your finger on the shutter button, and then when someone interesting walks past you just click it. Now this for me, I find I have had some success, but it is very hit and miss. But with practice it does work very well, and there are some people on the group who that's all they do. They just go around and they take pictures from the hip. So it can work very well. But as I say, it does take some practice. Another technique people have is that they would actually use a long zoom. So they use a 300mm zoom or a 400mm zoom, and they take it from a distance. Now again, this can work very well for you. But I must admit, when I tried this, I still feel a little bit off. It doesn't feel right for me to do that, because it feels like you are sneaking a shot, and you're being a bit sort of it just doesn't feel right. So that's not something I tend to do very often. Another technique you could do, Debapriya, is that I've actually set myself up on a corner, and with maybe something interesting behind, background, and I get my camera ready, and then when somebody comes round the corner, then I shoot. Now they will look around and they'll see something behind them and think, oh well, he's shooting at that and I've just got in his way, but really I'm actually shooting them. And that's worked very well for me. I've also done that on a train, where I've actually, when the train stopped, I've gone up very close to the train, actually with my shoulder against the train, and I've shot people as they've come out of the train door. And I've got 1 or 2 good shots like that as well. Another tip that I can give you is that shooting reflections. So you find a reflective building or sort of a mirror in a market, and you stand there and you start waiting for someone to actually walk past, and then you shoot. And you shoot their reflection in the mirror. So that can work quite well. Another technique people use is that it's called fishing. So you find a background, so it could be a poster or something, or just something very interesting, a geometric design, and you set up your camera and you wait for someone to walk into your image. And this is a technique that a lot of street photographers use, and so then you just press the shutter button and you've got your picture. But for that you need to sort of get used to waiting, because some people do wait half an hour, and some people just wait and nothing happens, so then they have to come back the next day. But that is another technique that you can use. So I hope these tips help you, Debapriya, and I look forward to seeing your next lot of pictures, and I hope that you will actually utilise some of these techniques. All the best.